In today's video, we are going to be breaking down Jalen Suggs and how he shoots the basketball. I just want to say congratulations really quickly for hitting that game winner. Too bad he could not win the March Madness tournament. Let's get down and let's check out Jalen Suggs. So we are going to have a side view as well as the back view so that we can actually see his release, gather, and into his set point from the back and also from the side. First thing that we really want to look at is his feet. How are his feet, his knees, and his hips aligned to the basket? So when he gets this ball, we see that he hops into his shot, which is actually really good. It helps him actually get a lot of power into his legs. And by hopping into your shot, if you land on your toes, that really activates your springy calf muscles, which will allow you to get up into the air a lot faster, especially away from defenders like this guy. So when he receives this ball, he gets down onto his toes. We see that his knees are actually in front of his toes, but his shoulders are in line with his toes, which is actually quite interesting. If you really think about it, many players will have their shoulders in line with their toes, in line with their knees, so that's actually quite interesting. It's a little bit different than some players. We do notice that he is looking at the rim, which is what you should be doing when you're shooting the basketball. You need to know where you're aiming. And of course, when he gathers or when he catches that ball around his chest, he actually slightly dips down to his waist, and then he rises up into his set point. Now, when he rises up into his set point, some players will actually rise up first before they actually start extending their legs, but he actually does this all at the same time, which actually creates good energy transfer up into his shot. When we look at his feet, they are not tilted away from the rim, they are pointing towards the rim, same as his hips and his shoulders. Many players will actually tilt away from the basket so that their elbow is in line with their shoulder to the rim. However, he's not having to do that. He can actually shoot squared up towards the basket. When he extends his legs and then he gets up into the air, he actually extends them right as soon as he lifts off the ground, and we see that both of his feet tend to leave the ground at the same time, but it really does look like the left foot is the last foot that touches the ground, which means that he may be pushing off more with his left leg than he does with his right leg. His set point is with his shoulder in line with the elbow towards the rim, and the ball is actually what looks to be in this clip as well as the other clip right in the middle of his forehead, with not much actual sight line towards the basket. Maybe his left eye will be the one who's able to see the net, which means that he's potentially left eye dominant. When he extends up into his shot, we actually see a little bit of a thumb flick, and it really does look like his middle finger, even though this is a blurry clip. I've seen some close-up clips that are still not great, but at least you can see that it is his middle finger that touches the ball last. He does have a soft release, which means that his hand flops and is curved, which means that that ball is going to have more arc than it does backwards rotation. We also see that in many cases he jumps forward roughly about 1 to 2 feet. Now, the issue with jumping forward into your shot is it does give you more power onto your shot. However, it could affect your shot when it comes to consistency, because if you start jumping maybe 1.5 feet farther instead of 1.25 feet or whatever, that's an extra 1/4 foot onto your shot, and it could create inconsistencies. But if you're shooting like this a lot and you're practicing, it's not going to affect your shot at all, or at least not much. And we can see when we go frame by frame that he actually releases the ball exactly at the top of his shot. Some players will actually release their shot when they're maybe 2 to 3 frames down, which is on the downwards part of their shot. The reason why some players will shoot that way is because it will give them more stability in their shot, while some players will actually release the ball when they're still going up so they can get more power on their shot. Being at the top of your shot is the stereotypical thing to do. Many coaches will try and teach you that. However, for everybody it is different, and of course Jalen Suggs shoots right at the top of his shot. Now, when we go to the backwards view, we actually see that he brings the ball up the middle of his body, up into his set point, which is right at the front of his forehead. We can also see here that he does not have a thumb flick as much in this clip as he did in the last clip, which could be because he was needing the extra power potentially because he was a lot farther away. However, what we can see here is when he goes to release that ball, that is when that ball, right at this frame here, is still in the middle of his forehead, which means that I would expect there to be a slight thumb flick because it's not over top of the upper arm, shoulder, or elbow. However, when he does shoot from set point up into his shot, he does slightly tilt away from the rim, which could mean that that does help his accuracy towards the rim. I hope that this video breakdown of Jalen Suggs' shot helps you become a better basketball player. If it does, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.